Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into a really chilling real-life mystery. It's drawn from excerpts of a podcast episode, The Vanishing at Lake Morvan, part of a series called Whispers in the Dark.
Hmm.
So our mission, really, is to unpack all the haunting details. Disappearance itself, the investigation or lack thereof, some really strange discoveries later on, and the theories that popped up. We want to help you get a really solid handle on this perplexing case. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, what makes it perfect for a deep dive like this, is how quickly you hit the limits of, well, verifiable facts. You have these concrete details, then suddenly, nothing. And our minds, they just try to fill that gap with local stories, maybe even something else. The real puzzle isn't just what happened. It's more about how we deal with that kind of absolute unknown, that absence. It's this rich, layered thing, and it really shows the challenge of information overload sometimes and trying to connect the dots when the dots are so spread out.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's the summer of 1998, Lake Morvan, Oregon. We have Emily Turner, 23 years old. Sounds like she was pretty vibrant. She's on a weekend trip with friends, kind of last break before starting a new job in Portland. So Saturday evening, she decides to go for a quick walk. Alone, along the lake trail. Tells her friends, I'll be back in 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes. But, well, she never came back. And here's the kicker. Her phone. Left charging in the cabin, shoes, keys, wallet, all untouched. The only thing they found, the only trace, was a single footprint right near the edge of the lake. And after that, just nothing. It's that suddenness, that complete vanishing act.
Yeah.
That's what really gets you, makes you realize this is, a profound puzzle.
Absolutely. Those initial details, that they're not just odd, they actively fight against simple explanations, don't they? Her stuff left behind. I mean, if she just wandered off, why leave everything? And the single footprint, something bad happened right there. Wouldn't there be more signs? A struggle, something. It immediately complicates things, sets the stage for, well, a mystery that just doesn't want to be solved easily.
Right. So the investigation kicks off, and it sounds like they threw a lot at it. Authorities searched the woods, dragged the lake, brought in dogs, helicopters, even dive teams for days.
A full-scale search.
But the results, a critical lack of findings, just baffling. No body, no clothes, no signs of any kind of struggle anywhere.
And the leads they did get were pretty thin, ambiguous. There were whispers from locals about a strange man. Tall, thin, had a noticeable limp, apparently seen watching Emily earlier that day.
But never identified.
Never identified, never found. Vanished too, maybe. Then there was a fisherman, claimed he saw someone swimming out into the lake around twilight, but couldn't be sure who it was.
Twilight. That's an interesting detail. Visibility wouldn't be great.
Exactly. And amidst all this, nothing. The official theory becomes drowning. But here's where it gets really interesting, like you said. Emily was a strong swimmer. Everyone said so. And the lake, calm that night. No currents to speak of.
So the drowning theory feels convenient, almost.
That's what it feels like. It just doesn't line up with the basic facts about her. And that raises a really important question, doesn't it? When the official story clashes so hard with what's known, was it just the simplest box to tick? Or were they genuinely out of other leads? It really shows how sometimes an official narrative can kind of solidify, even when it doesn't quite fit the messy reality.
Yeah, like maybe they just needed an answer, any answer.
Precisely. And having no body, no struggle, plus her swimming ability, it doesn't just not add up. It kind of undermines the whole drowning explanation. It makes you wonder if maybe those other leads, the strange man, the swimmer, were they dismissed too quickly? Because they didn't fit a neat conclusion.
All right, they just sort of hang there,
And then,
unresolved.
Yeah.
But okay, as if the initial vanishing wasn't strange enough, things get even weirder. 2 months later, a park ranger finds something. Emily's sweater,
Okay. Where?
deep in the forest, nearly 5 miles from the lake.
5 miles. That's quite a distance.
And get this, its condition, it was folded, clean, dry.
Clean and dry for 2 months out there. That's highly unusual.
Right. And near the sweater, symbols carved into trees. Some look like Norse runes, apparently. Others, totally unrecognizable, just weird symbols.
Okay, wow. So the sweater's location, its condition, the symbols, that adds a whole new layer of strange.
It really does. And it seems Emily's disappearance isn't totally isolated either when you look at the history of Lake Morvan itself. The source material mentions other odd things, like back in 1982, another camper vanished near the lake, just gone.
Another vanishing. Huh.
Then in 2004, a hiker finds a broken camcorder. And on it, recorded whispering voices. Nothing else, just whispers.
Whispering voices. Creepy.
And then, 2011, 2 teenagers, they claim they saw a A pale figure standing on the lake at night staring. Just standing there, not moving.
A figure on the lake? Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, these aren't just random events, are they? It feels connected somehow.
It certainly suggests a pattern, or at least a concentration of the unexplained in that specific location. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the sweater, 5 miles away, folded, clean, that defies any simple explanation, like someone placed it there deliberately, or Emily herself did, but how? Why? And the symbols add another element, almost ritualistic maybe. Then you layer on those historical incidents. The other vanishing, the recording, the figure. It makes you think, is it just coincidence? Or is there something about the place itself? Like the lake area is a kind of magnet for the inexplicable.
Yeah, magnet. That feels right. So what does this all mean when you try to put it all together? The sources mentioned basically 3 main theories about Emily. 1, she was abducted, victim of foul play, but the perpetrator left 0 evidence.
Plausible given the lack of struggle, maybe someone surprised her.
2, she chose to disappear. Controversial, maybe, but some people wonder if she orchestrated it all. Left her old life behind.
Difficult to pull off so cleanly, leaving everything behind like that, but not impossible, I suppose.
And 3, the supernatural explanation. Tied to the lake, the history, the weirdness. And this is where that local folklore comes in, cited by a historian in the source. Apparently, people used to call the lake the Still Eye. Believed it watched you. And if it chose you,
Yeah.
you never came back.
At the still eye.
That's
Chilling. Gives you goosebumps, doesn't it?
It really does.
And each theory, is an attempt to weave these fragments together, the facts, the lack of facts, the strange discoveries, the folklore. It's fascinating how we try to build a narrative, especially when the evidence is so contradictory or just absent. Folklore especially, it can sometimes hold a kernel of truth about a place's history or feel, or it can completely obscure what actually happened. We're not really here to say which theory is right, obviously. But just looking at how each one tries to make sense of the void, that's interesting in itself. Shows our need for answers, even when there might not be any.
And for Emily Turner, there still aren't any real answers. Nearly 3 decades on, her case is still open. But like the source says, no body, no killer, no goodbye. It really puts it up there with those other deeply unsettling, unsolved vanishings. A permanent question mark.
It really is a stark reminder that some mysteries just endure. They resist resolution. And when a place like Lake Morvan seems to collect these kinds of stories, these secrets, these strange events over time, it feels less like just one case and more like, a feature of the landscape almost. Like the place itself holds on to these mysteries that makes you reflect on all those layers we talked about.
So given everything we've unpacked today, Emily's disappearance, the sweater, the symbols, the lake's eerie history, the question we leave you with is, what do you believe happened? Definitely keep digging. Keep exploring these kinds of deep dives. There's always more beneath the surface.